So I will transfer you my energy. I will transfer my karma. Here is my karma on you.
Yeah, brother.
Please record.
Boom. Connected to the what chain?
The cloud.
Boom. And we're back. Episode 10, double digits. Check that out. That's cool.
Ooh, is it 10?
Yeah.
I feel like it's more.
No, it's 10.
10's a lot though, man. It's a
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I like it more like recording every week.
yeah.
You know, instead of like using the like the recycled episodes or like the older episodes that we used in the past.
Seems more up to date.
Yeah, I think it's more fun too because then I feel like we're more connected with people. You know?
Even though we're unconnected right now.
Yeah, even I feel more connected with our listeners now that we're in a pandemic than when we were before. Sick. Oh, it smells like peanut butter in here. Did we give the dogs a little treat? Yeah, you give them a treat to shut up? Yeah, we did. Oh my God.
They behaving?
Yeah, because they have peanut butter shoved down their mouths. They're all about it.
I saw the little ones getting big.
Oh man, yeah, she's almost about the same length as Minji. We were out. Me and Max went out and played fetch too. She's getting okay. We'll have to schedule that play date. Minji's not much fun, but Max is.
They are. Jem has been taking them to the park while I'm working.
Yeah.
And we go. So the tennis court right now has a chain on it, but there's a little place where you can get through. So
Nice.
when I go, I'm like, but they've been running around the tennis courts, and it's so funny. Yuki tackles Puppy so much.
That's what Minji does to Max.
So funny. It's the funniest part is that when they're both on the leash, Puppy will just, bite and play with Yuki, and he's like real confident. But as soon as it gets on the tennis court, he starts like running, swerving, trying to avoid Yuki because Yuki's just barreling after him, trying to get him.
It's funny. Yeah, Minji does this thing where she'll like duck her head down and kind of like do like a bulldozer, like gets underneath, like really up and close, like so Max can't put her paws on her, and then she'll like put her head underneath her Max's belly and then like buck her up. It's like
So Yuki did that to Puppy, where he literally got underneath him and he lifted his head and the puppy flew in the air and flipped. And it was in the living room and my face was just, did that just happen?
Dude, it's so weird because I think that the dogs are being so aggressive, but they're just like fucking around, like just playing. Like I feel like, oh my God, Minji, like get off of her neck. She's got it like grabbed.
Yep.
But it's like they're like, oh whatever. Like what?
The worst is when Yuki tackles Puppy in the tennis courts and the puppy cries and goes, and people are around and they think, my dogs are fighting or something, like training them to dog fight. It's like, no, people, that's how dogs play.
Yeah,
they're not
out in the open in broad daylight training my dogs how to fight each other.
Yep.
Don't mind us. Keep on moving now.
Y'all come back now, you hear? Psych.
Nothing to see here. Don't be looking at my dogs.
What you looking at?
Not my dogs. All right, cool. We have a cool episode today. I'm actually really excited about these topics. I feel like this is what's going to take us to the next level, is these intricate topics. And I was actually really, really excited to look up mine, which was impulses, right? Just in general, like human impulses, not like the electromagnetic, electromagnetic, magnetic, not those impulses. And then Shane's was voluntourism, which isn't actually a word, but it's a term for
volunteering when you go visit like other countries for, touristy purposes.
there we go.
I was kind of thinking it was like the Peace Corps. However, apparently Peace Corps does not want you to call their work voluntourism.
Yeah, there's like contracts, right? Isn't it
Yeah.
like terms? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not, they don't get paid or anything.
No.
Yeah, so it's rules to their volunteering. It's more official, I guess.
I guess.
I looked up. Yeah, I looked
They've
up.
just been around longer.
It's true. They are. That's like the thing. When you're talking about certain things, there's just like like you're talking about like soft drinks, like soda, Coke, Pepsi.
Yep.
Volunteering and helping third world countries. It's like Peace Corps.
Yep.
Boom. So that's exciting. So how should we determine who goes first? Jojo, do you have a question?
Trivia question?
Trivia question.
We both get one. I don't want the
Both?
first come.
All right. I'll go first.
Okay.
Oh, you put her on her spot. She
Make
wasn't
it
ready.
hard. I know she wasn't
She
prepared.
wasn't ready.
Like my new chair. I know you were listening, can't see it, but it's pretty sweet. It's got
Is it comfy?
Oh my god, it's so comfy.
Do you like my pillow on my bed?
Got a nice design on it, man.
On the plainest background.
I got all my secret formulas and stuff to take over the world up here.
Pinky and the brain.
That's an underrated show.
Used to watch that when I was a little kid.
It's good. All right.
Okay. Who's going first?
Me.
What does H stand for in the medical abbreviation ADHD?
What was the question? You have to speak up, JoJo.
Sorry. What does the H stand for in the medical abbreviation ADHD?
Hyper.
No.
No.
What's the answer, Shane?
Hyperactive.
It's hyperactivity, yeah.
Oh, man. I didn't know that was one word. So I learned two things.
I was so close.
Okay, Shane? Or do you just go first?
No, I want to try too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thought these were the same level, so we'll see. What is the most commonly diagnosed cancer in men?
Oh man, it's probably prostate.
It is prostate cancer.
Yeah. Cancer sucks, but go men's prostates.
Yeah, healthy men's prostate.
No, yeah. Not those dirty, nasty prostates.
No.
We want the clean ones. The healthy ones. Healthy.
Healthy and clean.
Healthy and clean and firm.
We want to live a healthy, clean lifestyle.
Yeah, you don't want any waste leaking out of there. You got to have some firm prostate.
So when I was working as an intern for the news station, they took me to this like health spa thing where the lady was just kind of crazy. However, what a lot of people do is before they get colonoscopies, they have this little machine that you stick up your butt. It's just like a little, it goes like about like a centimeter up your butt, and it's a hose essentially, and you push the water on. Like think of like a bidet.
Yeah. I just bought one.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
Yeah.
So you stick it just up there and you turn it on, and it's supposed to, like, the water's supposed to go into like your intestine, like your large intestine, and like clean it out. That way the colonoscopies, I guess, clearer. However, it can be dangerous because apparently it can cause dehydration, like not instantly, but like really quickly. So you have to make sure that you're super hydrated before you do it, and you just have to kind of be weary when you're going through that process.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that when you have diarrhea, you get really, really like dehydrated, like really fast, because there's a lot of water like held up in your intestines. Fun fact.
But healthy.
Men's prostates.
Healthy
Men's prostates.
Yep.
This episode Brought to you by
Health spa for men.
Okay, so wait. So you get to choose. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first.
All right. Let's hear about voluntourism.
So when I was doing some research on voluntourism, I was listening to some TED Talks, and then I was doing some other research, and I found out more bad things than good things. So essentially, voluntourism is when you go to another country. Typically, it would be considered third world, or what are they calling third world countries? Because you're not supposed to say third world anymore. It's supposed to be like underdeveloped. Yeah.
Developing.
So
Or
developing
like
countries.
emerging growth, maybe. Something like that. Yeah, it's
We'll
like
just call it third world for this situation.
developing nations.
Developing nations.
We're going to call them emerging growth third world countries.
Okay, what he said. We'll have an acronym for that at a later date. So essentially, these people will go to these countries and volunteer, such as, trying to build schools or libraries or houses and try to just help out in general. However, a lot of things I found out were that a lot of times we're doing more harm than we're doing good. So for example, let's say you are a 18-year-old, let's say just an 18-year-old, and your family goes, hey, do you want to go to this country to help out? You go, oh, that sounds great. I get to travel. So you go and they go, hey, while we're here, we're going to build a house. Well, you're 18. Most likely you do not know how to build houses, but they go, hey, let's build this house. So you're going to go and try to build this house. Well, most likely when you get a bunch of unqualified people building something, mistakes are going to happen. So what I found out is after the kids build the house, later that night, the actual professionals of that country go in and have to tear down all the progress that the kids made during that day and then start it up again.
What?
So it's double the work because they didn't build it right. So they have to tear it down and start building it up. Or what happens is the structures are really bad and it's like break down.
So they're just like prolonging these people from having these structures by just going over there building shitty houses.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like the thoughts really like, oh, hey, I'm gonna go help out.
Right.
But it's like, well, you might be actually doing more harm.
Right.
And another thing is when people go over there, most of the time they're considered privileged because, they have the funds or their parents have the funds to send them over, which typically they come from more wealthier families.
Right.
And so they don't mean to, but most people have like an agenda. So let's say you grew up with this lifestyle, right? Let's say you're, Christian and you want to come over and you have these kids that you're trying to say, hey, like, do you guys believe in God? And so they might try to, like, unintentionally, they might go like, oh, I believe in this, I believe in that. So it could, not really mesh with, with their culture, how they're raised.
Seems like an opportunity. Like people look at it like an opportunity to study abroad, and not so much as like a helping opportunity. But they think that they're checking off both boxes.
Yep.
But it's really more so of the first one, which is them taking advantage of the travel opportunity, not so much learning about. I mean, I'm sure that they learn a little bit about the culture and what have you to go over there, but. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They definitely don't take into account. I'm sure that. I mean, I haven't experienced anything like this, and I haven't, volunteered and went across the world to help people. So props to anybody who did that, right? But I think what we're saying here is that some people are getting a little bit too ahead of themselves, or they're in over their head, so they're actually preventing these things from happening because they're doing such a poor job, and that opportunity should be saved for the people who can actually make a difference.
Yeah, and another thing is that to go along with that, let's say you do bring over somebody who's qualified. Let's say you bring over somebody who does know how to build houses. And that might be taking an opportunity from somebody over there who could potentially learn or does it. So it's taking away from maybe economy from them.
Right.
And a lot of these companies that partake, there's like groups that are there's like nonprofit or these charities, and I guess like, oh, this charity, do you want to go along with this group to this country to do this work? It's like, oh, all you have to do is pay this amount. Or, hey, donate to this charity. Well, I found out most of the charities, most of the money actually just goes to the person in charge of the charity or the people in charge instead of actually helping out the people in need.
Oh, wow.
So those things like, oh, hey, donate 70 cents a day to African children to feed them. Well, probably 50 cents a day is going straight to people's pockets working for the association.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a way to get around or create an additional source of income for yourself. I think it's a dangerous line to like toe, because you don't want to call anyone an asshole because they created a charity to make themselves get money. You know what I mean? Like, that's a hard thing to accuse somebody of. But what I've heard in the NBA and professional athletes, they will start up these foundations and their funds to give back to the where they came from, which is awesome. But since it's a private foundation, they don't have to release any of the funds that they've or revenue that they've made off of the shirts or attendee at the camps and what have you. So it's like, to them it's just another way to make money, but I don't know. I mean, I guess they're providing a service, I mean, they're training these kids in basketball, but just know that when you do sign up for those camps, that probably a significant amount isn't going to where you think it's going, or you just don't have any control over where most of the money is going, but you'll never know.
Well, I was gonna say something else. Oh, that's how isn't that how Hillary and Bill Clinton, they had like that charity and they like pocketed most of the money and they spent it for Chelsea's schooling.
What? No, I didn't hear that.
I
That's
think
crazy.
I'm not 100% certain that's true, but I'm like 95% certain that's true.
Get on that.
Get
Google.
that
Wow.
Google. But I know the Clintons had this. I don't know if it was a charity. It was something where
They like kill people, right? Like, people are afraid that they're so powerful that they'll like have people killed. I felt like there was someone that they.
I'm sure they do. I mean, I feel like if you get that high up for so many years, you're a little dirty or a lot of dirty in a lot of ways.
Yeah, for sure.
That's one of the things about the United States, which is kind of funny because we were watching, we're watching all the Marvel movies,
Yeah.
and we just got to Black Panther, and the one thing about Black Panther that I just kept annoying me is they're this really technologically advanced society.
Right.
However, their weapons are spears still.
Yeah.
I know they're getting the whole like African culture and stuff, which is great. And the one other thing that really pissed me off was the one guy, Michael B. Jordan. His dad was like a prince or something, but he never grew up in Wakanda. He never did anything, and all of a sudden, and he's a mass murderer. He's killed like hundreds of people, and he comes one day and just goes, "I have this ring. I'm of noble blood. I can compete to be king." It's like, oh, dude, how are you so technologically advanced and your election is so terrible? And then I was thinking about the United States. I was like, well, we're kind of the same way. I hate our election process. It's just the worst.
Yeah, we should make everybody world leaders fight to the death.
Just like our podcast. Was that podcast like 2 or 3?
Yeah, I think that was early on. I mean,
it was like the third.
Yeah.
It's so long ago.
So many things have happened in 7 weeks. You know what I mean? That's crazy. No, that makes it is funny how these large, like, powerful nations in some movies, or maybe even in real life, like even like for Troy, for example, it's like they have this huge fucking army. Even at the end of that first scene when he kills the big guy, Brad Pitt kills
Oh
the big
yeah,
guy, and he's
yeah.
standing there and he yells, "Is there anyone else?" And there's like fucking 5,000 people there, so it's like, yeah, there's, yeah, get him, but no. So that's like, okay, I guess I don't know. Maybe it's a respect thing back then, or in these movies, just to make it. But it does seem weird that the control of the entire world, their world would be decided
One
by
battle.
a fist fight on a cliff in a pond.
What if you go to step and you just happen to pull a hamstring or something, and then you kneel down, and just for that second, the guy goes, "Oh." Whoop.
Just yeah.
I was thinking about Anderson Silva from the UFC. He was still one of the greatest fighters ever, and he fought that one guy, and he went for a leg kick, and his leg broke. So that, let's say in the Troy situation, that happened where a guy went and he went to like punch or something, or he like swords collide, and all of a sudden his wrist breaks. Well, sorry, nation. Your guy's wrist broke, so you're screwed.
Yeah. It's like, oh, he's out 4 to 6 weeks. Looks like you guys are gonna be our slaves. Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about something. Forgot. Oh, my question. All right, so my question about voluntourism. It's more so about our country, and if we had to move the United States of America to another country, where would we go? We would just swap places. Well, I don't know about swap, but we would replace that country in within their like country limits.
So would it have to be like the same size, kind of?
I mean, probably.
Because I mean, we're bigger than Europe, so we couldn't just kind of swap out.
Condense.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of stuff going on in the Midwest over here.
So if we had to switch out, my first thought was Australia, just because I think they're comparable in size.
It looks like an upside down United States almost.
Yeah. Definitely. No. I was going to say maybe Mexico.
That'd be an odd turn of events.
Yeah. Definitely not Russia, too cold.
Yeah, fuck that.
Definitely not China. No, I'm thinking maybe something like Turkey.
Okay.
Let me pull up a map. Let me pull up a map real quick. I think Turkey is fairly large.
Yeah.
And I think it's located in a place that is pretty
You hear that?
equivalent to our weather.
Apparently the Greeks and the Turks don't like each other. So you have offended my Greek fiance.
So Turkey would be great, because then we're right next to Syria and stuff, so then we could just, literally take over all that space way easier. Because that's what the United States really wants to do.
Destroy our enemies.
Oh, you know what? Maybe Saudi Arabia, because that's where all the oil is.
Oh yeah, good call. They are so rich.
Uh-huh.
Gas is free over there.
I'm sure. I heard the wealthiest man in the world is from Saudi Arabia. However, it's unofficial because he's like a king or something over there.
Oh yeah. Well, that's funny. I was leading into my next story. It was that like, these people these girls that I knew in college, they were talking about these Saudi Arabian dudes that they met, and they were like, "Oh my god, that they're princes! They told us that they were princes." And I was like, "That's hilarious," because like everybody over there is a prince. If you're a son, a firstborn son, you're a prince. That's just what you're called. It's not really of royalty.
Maybe I'll start going by Prince.
There you go.
Prince Lowry from the borough. I had the word in my head and I just forgot it. Oh my god, province. Borough province.
That's funny.
I hate that when I have, I actually think out my sentence. I have it. I'm going through, and then I get the one word, and I'm like, "What was that word?" And it's gone. My whole train of thought's gone, and then I'm so focused on that one word where I forget everything else.
Yeah.
It's like that thing I learned in middle school, where if you're in a class and the teacher goes, "Hey John, can you read pages 5 and 6?" Well, when you're that age, you're so worried about just getting the words right, because if you mess up, kids will probably make fun of you.
Sure.
Like today, Junior, where if you are in a class setting and you have to read out loud, you as the reader will not comprehend anything you just read.
Whoa.
Because you're so focused on just getting the words right, you're not worried about the content.
I believe it.
So the teacher figured that out the one time, because she was like getting so frustrated, because she would ask the kid who just read, "Okay, so what do you think that chapter meant?" And they were like, "I don't even know what I just read." So I guess she did research and found out that, especially at that age, you're so worried about just getting the words right that you're not comprehending anything that you're reading. You're just worried about pronouncing everything correctly.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, yeah, it's interesting because when I read out loud now, it's to help me like understand something better. Like I'll repeat it out loud to myself and it helps me. But I mean, like in my office, by myself. So at that age, I'm definitely freaking the fuck out because Sally's gonna make fun of me and someone's gonna throw stuff at me or something. That was the worst, when people would throw things at you in class. People ever throw things at you?
No. Oh, but you know what they did do? They would have those rubber bands, and they would get the little pieces of paper and then make the paper wasp, and they would shoot it at you, and it'd be like,
the same thing. Yeah. It's like anything like that. Yeah. It was so annoying. People would do that in class, and then you like couldn't do anything about it. It was always people behind you. I was like, it's so annoying. All right, let's do this. Impulses. Let's get with it. An impulse is. Oh, shit, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. An impulse is something that happens to your brain, when your subconscious lapses, and you do something that you absolutely wouldn't do under any circumstances, but your subconscious is so focused on not doing that thing, and then some wires get crossed, and then you have that thought. And the thought that I'm talking about, it's like every time that I drive across a bridge, I want to drive right off of it. That's not because I'm suicidal or a maniac. That's just because my brain is so focused on not driving off of the bridge, that and in order to keep me from driving off of the bridge, my subconscious has to constantly process the fact that I need to stay on the bridge and not drive off of it. But subconscious is only good for so many. We are human. So when you do get a thought like that, it's not because you're suicidal or a maniac. It's because you are actually very, very far away from actually making that decision in real life. It's Edgar Allan Poe had a term for it. It's called the imp of perversion.
What is that? What is that?
imp of perversion.
The imp of perversion.
Yup.
Okay.
And it's basically just the thought that, or when you're making a decision, the imp of perversion is a metaphor for the urge to do exactly the wrong thing in a given situation for the sole reason that it's possible for wrong to be done. So it's basically just thinking of the absolute worst thing to do in any situation, and then you don't do that thing because that's not what you're supposed to do. But you think about it because your subconscious is constantly focused on that thing, and it lets some things out every now and again. So whenever I get that, like if I'm gonna give like a big presentation or a speech and I have like something that's bothering me, I'll like focus to work through that one thing. But if it's like something that's like absolutely ridiculous, like sometimes I'll think like, oh, what if the PowerPoint presentation like doesn't turn on, or like what if I just yell fuck like right now, like like what would the people on the other side of the phone say? And I think it's funny to think about, but I know that I wouldn't ever actually do that because I'm thinking about it. And a lot of those disorders like OCD and like ADD are really just people succumbing to their impulses much faster than other people. So obsessive compulsive disorder, you're constantly adjusting and moving things around because you get an impulse to do so. And someone without it can hold back and restrain themselves from moving forward or committing to that impulse. But the people with OCD and ADD, that's their disorder is essentially that they succumb to impulses much faster.
I'll do that with sentences. Somebody will say something to me, and instead of, I'll just say like the first thing that came to my mind, and it, like while I'm saying it, I'm like, no, why am I saying this?
Yeah. Well, I think that's like when you commit too much to the idea. That kind of sucks too. Yeah, I try not to do that too much. Just not say it. I don't really talk that much, so. But it is interesting, like if you think about like the people who like kill people, that like imagine, you know what I mean, like you're like, that's a crazy ass impulse to act through on that. Like what if, you know what I mean, like what if I actually drove off of the bridge? You know what I mean? That's life changing, and it's so crazy that it's like that one decision could change my entire life. It's nuts. And yeah, it's crazy.
So if we did act on every impulse we had, every single person would be dead.
Yeah.
Because there's so many times where I have literally thought I would kill that person right now, or I have that impulse where I'm driving my car. This happens a lot, and it doesn't happen as much as it used to. When I was a teenager, it happened. When I first got my license, it happened a lot where I'm driving down the highway and all of a sudden the car's coming the other way. And I'm like, what if I would just go in their lane?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
play chicken. And I always thought that's one thing about education that's critical, is that sometimes you think these thoughts and nobody's ever told you that you have these impulses that are like crazy. And like for the longest time, I forget what it was, but I know I had this idea that I like did something like really wrong, and then I found out later that almost everybody does it, and I was like, oh, now I don't feel as bad, and there's something that like was like haunting me almost. And then you do some research and you go, oh, well, everybody has these thoughts, everybody feels this way, so it's not that weird.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I mean, it's comforting to know that you're not a weirdo.
Yeah.
But then I think I'm like, well, is like if everyone's thinking and having these impulses and whatnot, there's got to be somebody who has weirder impulses. You know what I mean? Because I think when you get in impulses, right, the people who have weirder, I guess it's not really weirder. It's just like, because everyone has weird impulses, but it's the people who follow through with those impulses is the separation.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like normal people have all these crazy impulses, like, fuck, what if I just jumped off of this roof? Or, I get that on the cruise ships that I've been on. I get that every single time. I'm leaning over to the side, singing my heart out. And then I'm like, what if I dove? And then I think, how long could I survive out there? What would I do?
I do that with
be fucked.
cliffs. Like if you're on a cliff, you go, like, how long will it take for me to hit the bottom if I jump? Would it be like 5 seconds? Would it be 10 seconds?
Do you want to find out how long it would take?
That's what
You don't wanna just
or my thing is, what would I think during that time frame? So let's say you're a parachute or you're what the heck's it called when you jump out of a plane?
Do we need to describe it more?
Skydiving.
Okay.
Jesus. So let's say you're skydiving, right?
Yeah.
And you pull your parachute, doesn't deploy. You pull your backup parachute, doesn't deploy. So that person, because when you're skydiving, it goes so much quicker than the movies.
Right.
And so how long until you hit the ground? It literally might be like 15 seconds. It could be a lot less. So what are your thoughts during that 15 seconds? Is it,
Right.
I'm going to die? Like, what's going on? Or is it like, should I land a certain way? Or should I do this? Should I do that?
I cry. Yeah. Impulses are nuts. It's
I wonder
fun.
what controls that. Like, is there something is there like a chemical, or is there
Called the executive function of your brain.
Is
Controls
it?
like your forward thinking, your planning, and your impulses.
Where's that located? Is that like the frontal lobe or something?
It's a complex system. I didn't get the exact location of the area, but it's called the executive function. It's like your executive function fails when you mean to go to the store after work, but you drive straight home. So
It happens to me all the time.
Yeah. So
when I was working for the radio station, I used to have to drive the truck, and I would just miss exits all the time. And they'd be like, "Shane, you missed your exit." like, oops.
What are you gonna do?
Sorry, I'll get the next one.
Yeah, that's like you see those brain games, like the apps that say like this will help improve your cognitive dissonance. It's like they say that helps improve your executive function, but in reality, it doesn't, because executive function only functions within the right context. It's all about context. So if you get good at that app or that game, you're not improving your executive function. You're just getting good at that app. The only way to actually improve your executive function, according to this TED Talk, is through real world application. So the context is to what you apply it in, or where you apply that.
So it's good to be well-rounded, is what you're saying.
Like if you want to get something done, like let's say that you have some work to do, you putting your phone aside, is using your executive function to focus on the larger task at hand. And then, or like setting up like a reward system for yourself. Like, okay, I'm going to read a book, and at the end of the book, I'm going to get ice cream. It's like, it's progressing your goals by using your brain.
So
who want to thunk it?
So we're like Pavlov's dogs.
All the dogs and cats.
Ring, ring, ring.
Yeah. Yup. Do you have a question, or was that your question?
No, I was going to say, what is some of your impulses, and what's one that you would like to do but you've never done?
Well, the main impulse that I have is just driving over the bridge every time. I always am like, oof. Or it's like driving, and I think about if I want to open the car door or not. Like, oh, what would happen? What would happen? That's an impulse I have. As far as things that I want to do, I'm pretty open to like fucking everything, man. At this point in my life, I didn't really do a whole lot of stuff besides drink. So I'm open for a lot of stuff. I want to go. I think I'm gonna go skydiving this summer sometime, maybe into the fall sometime this year. I think it's gonna be cool.
So, John, I think that if we dye your beard and your facial hair gray with those glasses, you would make a great Santa Claus.
Oh,
Jojo, you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Can you see it? Look, the glasses are like the color of Santa Claus's glasses. They got like a little round.
oh yeah, they are.
You got a good beard going.
I know there's gray in my beard already, but not enough.
Yeah, let's try something out.
Okay.
We'll get you a little too skinny. We gotta feed you a little bit more, okay?
Trying to eat, man. Eating is hard. I get too full.
Eating's not hard for me.
Me either, Shane. Me either.
I love it.
Must be nice, guys. Teach me your ways. What do you do?
I
Secret to eating.
I pick up the food and I eat, and if I'm still hungry, which I am, I go to the refrigerator and find more food.
Do you just eat constantly all day?
So I've been doing better. Like the first 2 weeks of the quarantine.
So to clarify, you don't do what you just said.
Well, here's a great example of when I eat. If there is food that is readily available, I will eat it. Same thing, for example, I'll take just drinking. Let's say you go out and buy a pack of LaCroix. Let's say there's 8 in the pack, right? Since it's so easy for me to just go to the refrigerator, get that LaCroix, and open it up and drink it, I can do that nonstop. Like bam, bam. Same thing with food. If there's food in the refrigerator where I can literally just microwave it or just eat it, I'll do it. So chips and salsa. If I see chips and salsa, it's literally pouring sauce into the bowl, opening a bag of chips. It takes less than 30 seconds, and I'll eat. So I've been trying to keep as little food in the refrigerator as possible so I don't eat as much. And I've been trying to buy things like apples where I know that I will eat it as much as I can if it's there. So when I do get little things, like when I do get hungry, I'll just go and grab the apple instead of like a cupcake or chips.
That's smart. Yeah, I have a bunch of apples. I eat them all the time. I get cereal bars. I just can't get. I mean, I'm trying to eat to gain mass. I can't eat that much. I have 2 protein shakes a day. I eat a protein bar. I have hard-boiled eggs, granola and yogurt. 2 or 3 like healthy big ass meals, cereal bars, apples.
It's just, well, I know there is some like chemical or something in your stomach where it sends it to your brain saying that you're full. So maybe yours is just firing on all cylinders, man.
I think I just need to figure it. I've been lunging 20 minutes a day.
Lunging?
Yeah, walking lunges 20 minutes a day I challenged myself to do it every day this month. So that's
Quadzilla.
yeah, it's cool. But I'm burning so many calories that I need to eat. And then doing like the CrossFit home workouts is tough too.
Yeah, that's what they say for football players. Sometimes like for linemen, if you're like let's say you're 280, you want to go to the combine at like 300. So they have to just constantly eat and eat and eat. And they say that's sometimes the hardest thing. So that's why, for example, like Gronk, when he retired, it was so easy for him to just get shredded because he wasn't like a lineman anymore.
Yeah, just like Teddy Bruschi, just like all those guys. They're just like they're like, well, I don't have to eat anymore. Who's that guy? I think Joe Thomas, the
Yeah.
offensive lineman for the
He's like
Browns.
swimming now, and he's
Yeah,
just,
it's like
he looks
but
so
I-
weird though. He's got the
Yeah.
biggest fucking head, and now he's kind of skinny.
Yeah, that is true. Those big guys, but they're also they're athletes. You know what I mean? Like, you know how flexible and mobile you have to be like an offensive lineman and strong. You know,
Well,
like
it's
that's and then they just stop. They just shed all of those extra pounds. Then they're like they can finally do other things. It's like a whole new life for them. You know what I mean?
it is.
Crazy.
They say it's so hard for those guys too, and that's why all these athletes are actually, which I'm glad are coming out with all these like mental things, because it's first. Let's say you've been the best athlete your whole life, even in the NFL, you're just a freak athlete, and then all of a sudden you become like 31, 32, and you're not as fast, you're not as athletic, and certain things diminish, and all of a sudden you're kind of like struggling with that because you're like, oh my gosh, my whole life I've been this great athlete, and now I'm like retired, and like, what do I do? Like, I can't do those things anymore, so you have to find like an outlet. And a lot of times those guys, they don't know what to do, so they get in the bad habits, and
They'll just become regular people again.
yeah, but they're like not regular people if you think about it. So their whole life they haven't been a regular person, they've been like this above average person, and now all of a sudden they're like an average person, and they don't know how to handle it because they've never been average.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're just like us.
So I don't feel
now
bad for them. They're trying to provide like outlets to them. Like, hey, like once you retire, we're gonna, like, for example, Kobe, when he retired, he was at the gym the next day at 4 a.m. in the gym because that was his whole life. And he didn't know what else to do.
He started Mamba Sports Academy. So that's
that was a good way of transitioning from like his work ethic to something productive.
Mm-hmm.
Other times those people don't have those avenues, or they don't have somebody or like a support system that says, hey, maybe we should be doing this to keep you busy. Because think about it, if you're a football player, you have to be at the facility at like 8 a.m. You don't leave until like 6 or 7. So that's, almost 12 hours of your day that's planned. So it's like, hey, I'm in this regiment, and then all of a sudden that goes away. So then it's like, oh, what do I do? So if they have people that go, hey, we're going to start doing this instead, then it's an easier transition.
For sure. But some people take advantage of those people, like your boys. Hey, yo, let's give me a couple stacks, bro, on the low, hook your boy up, or your like needy aunt. Sonny, can you give me some cash?
So if you won the lottery, do you have have you ever thought about this? I think about this. So if I won the lottery, I have like a list of people that if they asked me for money, I would give them money. And there's an even shorter list of people I would give money to without them even asking.
Does it matter how much you won?
Yeah. Let's just say like 2 million.
Okay.
Or not 2 million, 200 million.
200 million. All right.
Like, obviously, right off the bat, my mom.
For sure.
Like, I would give her enough money so she could buy a lake house, have enough money to retire comfortably, and do whatever. That would be my first thing. But just, there's certain other people like my uncle who's helped me out a lot, who I would not even hesitate, because how they say, like, if you win $1 million or if you become an athlete and you have all this money, that you should like hire like a lawyer to like dictate your money.
Yep. First thing.
I get it. However, I know there's certain people that I would just be like, you know what, this person, I am going to give them money without them even asking. And then there's another list where I'm not necessarily just going to be like, hey, I won the lottery, you want this money? But if they came to me when they were like in trouble, or it would have to be for like a good reason. So let's say like somebody comes to me and goes, hey, I'm trying to invest in this company, or like I'm trying to start my own business. Then I would be like, yeah, I'll support you with that. But if they just come like, hey, I heard you won $200 million, hook me up, I'd be like,
let's go clubbing. Yeah.
no. I'd be like, no.
Yeah, it's all gravy. I think I don't know. I would try not to have anybody find out.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
try really, really hard.
Same here.
But I would definitely hook my mom up.
Showed that.
For show that. Yeah. We're thinking of when we moved to. Did I tell you about this?
The
Thinking
house
of
thing.
yeah, like the little granny flat thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dogs are done with their peanut butter. They're getting feisty. What did I
I
tell you
haven't
about?
heard them. So
Well, they were getting up there. They're getting
did I tell
riled
you
up.
about our weird neighbor who's right across?
No.
Oh my god. Adjust. My legs are numb. So we have a neighbor that's such a weirdo. He's right across the hall. And
This the guy you play football with?
no. No. But so this guy, he when we first got the puppy would bark a lot, and he like yells like "Shut your dog up!" And I literally fuming like I want to like beat the guy's ass. So a new guy moved in right next door to him. So we're
Yeah.
across the hall, but there's a guy who moved in right next door,
Uh-huh.
and he has a dog, and that dog barks a lot when his owner leaves.
Mhm.
So it's not too bad. It'll be for like maybe like 10 minutes and it will stop. But Jem was, I think, just came in or something and was near our door, and she heard his door open, and she looked through the peephole, and he said, "Shut your dogs, like shut your fucking dogs up," or something, like towards our door instead of like down the hall. I'm like, first of all, our dogs are asleep. And I was just like, this guy's a
What?
like
Your dogs
obviously.
were asleep at the time, and
Huh?
your dogs were asleep at the time.
Well, he thought it was our dogs.
Oh, okay. So he yelled at you. Gotcha.
But I was like, dude, like, is your hearing fucked up? Like, I can tell that a dog's barking to my right
Yeah.
or straight ahead.
I
I
thought
don't know.
I thought you said that the neighbor was on his side of the hall,
Yeah, so we're right across, but
and the
so here.
neighbor's on his side of the hallway,
Yeah, so we're right across.
and he thought it was in your room. What the fuck?
He's such a weirdo.
He's
There's
annoying.
been so many times when Jem will be like, "Hey guys, we're about to go outside," like to the dogs, and then she'll like go out and he'll open the door like at the same time or like right after.
Really?
So weird.
Like stare at her? Like
He'll just open
threaten
the
her?
door and be like, he's such a weirdo. I don't know how to explain it. He's just a weirdo.
That's
I think
funny.
I said weirdo 25 times.
I think add a couple more. Weirdo. Weirdo. What a weirdo. That's funny. What are your impulses? Did we talk about those?
Oh, I think I told you the last one, or the last time we talked. There's a couple that I always have. One is if I see a police officer, I don't know why, I just want to take his handgun. I don't want to like shoot anything. I just want to take it. I just want to like see what the police officer does if I take it. We can do that.
How fast, if he could catch you, or like if you could do it.
That would be cool. One I get all the time is just visualizing myself fighting people all the time.
Like, you mean like fist fighting, like people that you know, or like fantasizing about fighting like celebrities like Jake Paul?
No, like walking down the street and I'll see somebody and I'll think, what if this person tries to jump me right now? Like, what would I do? Like, I'm gonna just fuck him up. It's just my mindset. Like,
You think this about everybody you walk by?
A lot of people.
Fuck you up.
Like, I'll literally think about. I'll see somebody walking. Like, if this guy jumps me right now, I got it because I'm already in like this attack mode.
We put the. I don't know if I do the fight everybody on the street thing.
Not everybody, but sometimes it's more common in certain places, for example, like the subway, if we're going through in Wheaton, there's that tunnel. It's kind of like the metro goes from one side of the road to the other, and there's always like sketchy people. So I always go, if this person like looks at me funny, like it comes at me, like I'm gonna come at them. I even told Jem the one time, like, hey, we ever get jumped by a group of people, just stand behind me. I said, I got them all.
He just so aggressive, like a junkyard dog.
Yeah. Not right now, though, because I'm crippled.
Oh, yeah.
I got a bad knee, a bad shoulder.
Jeez.
I did some of my rehab today. I might do a little bit more tonight, but I can't wait to get surgery. It's one of those things that I've always been kind of afraid of surgery, but this one I want it so bad.
I would too. I got surgery on my foot in college, last year of college, and it still hurts now, which sucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. If they had to like shave down the bone. I don't think I rehabbed it properly.
Was it bone spurs?
No, they kicked the big toe joint, and it like reversed the joint so that the bone was rubbing on the bone every time it went up and down. So
You know what?
Shave it down.
I think that's what happens to me. Like my big toe, I jammed it looking at geese when I was running.
What did you run into?
The curb, like. So you know how on the sidewalk it goes kind of slopes down for driveways and slopes back up. Well, it was getting dark out, and I'm running, and in the distance it was pitch black, and this flock of geese fly over my head. And I looked up at them because I thought it was really cool. Next thing I know, I jammed my toe almost through my shoe. There's like the thread ripped off, and I was like, and it hurt for like 2 weeks. And I was like, I gotta go get it looked at. And then I was wrestling Yuki, and I like hit it up against something, and I literally felt it was dislocated.
Ooh.
For 2 weeks. So I think there's probably some like nerve damage or like some ligament damage. And it still hurt. It doesn't hurt nearly as bad, but the shitty thing was it was probably like a month before the Spartan race. So I was like, dude, I was crushing it. Yeah, so I was crushing it, man. I was running every day, and that happened. And then instead of running like 3 miles, I'd get like a mile, and I'd be like, that's so painful. And then literally, I think it was like 3 days before the race, it popped back in. I was like, thank God, because running Spartan race with the toe feeling, with dislocated toe, would have been awful.
Damn. Yeah. Like we were doing, when I re-injured my toe, we were doing CrossFit, or I was doing CrossFit. I did a rope climb, then I jumped down off the rope, and I landed on my toe. And like when would I have ever done that, before that moment? So I didn't know that it was going to be that easy to re-injure it. So it hurt a little bit. I had to switch my shoes actually from the Nike Metcons, which are a little bit more flat-footed, to like Freeze that have the more cushion on the bottom.
Yeah.
But they don't have any grip, so I can't really climb ropes with it. But
those ropes, man, they're dangerous.
Yeah.
I told you about the Spartan race one, right? What happened to me?
Tell the listeners.
So there's a rope climb in the Spartan race, and let's say it's 12 feet high. I don't know how high it is, but so I climbed up it, right? And I hit the bell, and I thought the rope was a lot shorter, so I thought I could just jump down because there's a mat at the bottom, and I was like, I'll just jump down. So after I hit the bell, I was like, okay, cool. So I did like one, and I looked down. I was like, oh, I can drop. So I like let go for a split second, and I realized like my eyes got big. Like, oh, that's way higher.
Oh, really?
So I gripped the rope again, but my hands slipped down, and my hands got destroyed.
Ow.
Destroyed. And then I was like, But luckily the rope was like the second or third. last thing in the
Oh,
race.
okay. So you'd already done most of it.
And my adrenaline was pumping because the next thing after that was like these little block things, and it kind of hurt, but I was like, and then there was a carry, and then there was the.
What was the penalty for not doing the things again? Like 30 burpees or something?
If you fucked up something, it's 30 burpee penalty.
That's crazy.
If it was like 10, it would be great because you can do 10 burpees in like 30 seconds, but 30 burpees after 2 miles of running, easily maybe like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
In 3 minutes, you can run half a mile in 3 minutes.
Right. Damn. So that's where you think you messed up, right? The javelin toss.
Oh, it is because I think I was in fourth or fifth, because I remember Jem was. So how the course works is you went up and then looped back around. So I remember I was doing pretty good, and she saw people coming that I was ahead who hit the javelin coming by, and she thought like I got hurt or something. She's like, where is he? Where is he? And then she finally saw me, and she goes like, what happened? What happened? I was like, missed the fucking javelin throw.
How far did you have to throw it?
I don't know. It definitely seemed super far, and I think the javelin I picked was not optimal for. I thought it was gonna be heavier.
Oh, really? It wasn't that heavy?
No, and the shitty thing is too, it has like a wire on the end of it. So what happened to me too is I think I was like over top of the wire, because you gotta think about it. If I throw it, I have to retrieve it somehow, right? Or the next person has to retrieve it. Which doesn't make sense. They should just be able to throw it and then go get it. But I guess it's a safety reason because you have to have the fence up.
Oh, yeah, because other people are throwing javelins too. You don't want to be dodging them.
So that's where I fucked up. But I just want to get healthy, man. It's really killing me that I can't run. And it's really killing me now that I was kind of okay with not being able to run or anything because I was able to do some like band work, upper body. Yeah. But now I can't do either.
Damn. That's
struggle,
sucks,
man.
Dude. Yeah, that's the worst.
My mom told Jem to trade me in because I'm breaking down.
Get the warranty. Oh, that reminds me. I need to enact the warranty on my bidet. So that's what I'm going to do after this.
We talked about the bunkers, like those doomsday bunkers, right? Have we talked about that?
Maybe a little bit. Why? What are you talking about?
So they are taking these old like missile silos and stuff and turning them into like these luxury doomsday hotels, essentially. So
shit. All right.
So in these doomsday things, they have like what are they called? Hatcheries or fisheries or whatever, where they have fish.
Yeah.
Like that's how tilapia is. They can live in like those tanks. So they have that for food. They have like indoor plants. They have like indoor greenhouses and stuff. So one of the things they do is every single bathroom has a bidet because toilet paper is actually really stupid.
Yeah.
It really is. It's so stupid if you think about it. It's so wasteful and it takes up a lot of space.
Dude, the amount of toilet paper, it's like next to nothing. Post bidet.
Oh, I know. So
pre-bidet, it was like a fucking war zone in that motherfucker. You did not want to get in there.
And it doesn't do a great job cleaning either.
Yeah, my prostate was
getting backed up. Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Well, that's episode 10. There was this. I saw this cool thing today, and I printed it out and I put it on my wall because it inspired me so much. It's this. It's a book. It's a short book by this guy named Don Miguel Ruiz. It's called the Four Agreements, and it's about what you mean to other people, how to live your life better, and how to accept certain things about your life. So I just wanted to share it with you and the listeners. So I think it made my day brighter. So hopefully it'll make yours brighter, Shane, because I love you, buddy.
I hope I can agree with you 4 times.
The 4 agreements are, number 1, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity, say only what you mean, avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love.
Minus the weirdo across the hall.
Minus the weirdo across the hall and all of those impulses that we get. Those are fine. Number 2, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering.
I would agree. I like that one.
Yeah, that was my favorite. Well, actually all of these are really good. All right, number 3, don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life.
I do that a lot. I'll get mad at something and then I'll take a step back and be like, well, maybe that person's having a bad day.
Yeah, I do that too. It's like, oh, I'm always giving someone, the benefit of the doubt, until they do you wrong, right? And I think, if you don't make assumptions, then you're just communicating better. You get to connect with that person a little bit more because you're actually trying to get to understand what they're saying. You want to learn more about their situation so you can either help them out or just be there, just to be a friend. Number 4, always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. And those are the 4 agreements that are on my wall. I plan to try to live by, throw it into the mix a little bit.
I've seen so many things where if you want to live a certain way, you should surround yourself with, either if they're quotes or if it's a goal you have, you should post it almost everywhere so you see it. Mm-hmm. Because the more you see something, the more you think about it, and the more you think about it, the more likely you're going to do it.
Yeah. Yep, that's why I got this thing. And my work computer at the office is covered in fucking sticky notes. It's honestly like you wouldn't think that I could remember anything, the amount of shit that's like written everywhere. But I thought
I would like to do more of that. I got in the habit of it a while ago and then I kind of stopped. I would like to do that again.
It's good. I started doing that again recently, and or at home, and I started to what was I gonna say? Write down my goals. So I broke down like monthly goals, and this upcoming month I'll have monthly goals and I'll start my weekly goals again.
Where do you write them down? Just on the board behind you, or?
Yeah, I have another little board. You can't see it, but it's like a little calendar. So then I'll write down, like, it's a whiteboard calendar. So I'll just put up a new Bible quote every month, a new like quote that I just like, and then I write down things that I want to get accomplished, and then things that I actually like should get accomplished, and then I write the dates, like fill in which dates or what.
Did you like my gospel to you the other day through text?
Yeah, when I told you to preach. That was funny. That was really funny. Yeah,
it's true too.
Yeah, it is. I guess I don't have my phone with me, or I read
It's
it to
you. Next week.
All right, next week.
Next episode of Question Talk.
Boom, boom, boom.
Shane's Gospel. brother Shane's Gospel.
Preach, brother Shane. That's funny. Brother Shane and John the Witness. That's awesome. All right, follow us.
John Joseph Witness.
John Joseph the Witness. All right, follow us on social media. Question Talk Pod. New Fridays, new episodes every Friday.
New Fridays every Friday.
Every Friday. All right, guys. Send them
Bye.
out. Shane. All right.